I am taking a brand new account all the way from 1000 to 2000 rating on chess.com, sharing many strategies you can use to win more chess games. So I will be sharing a very interesting strategy, but I will demonstrate this here in a game. So we are currently playing against a 1078 rated player. And one strategy that I really like is this idea that we are in the opening not gonna put our knight on the c3 square. I actually think that's not the best square for the knight. Instead, we are going to put our knight here on the d2 square. And you might be thinking, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is from the d2 square, our knight is actually protecting both e4 and c4, while if you put it here, it's only protecting e4, and this makes both of those pawn pushes possible. Here, because they played the bishop to f5, basically they made e4 impossible, but now we can play c4 if we want, and it will be guarded by both the knight and the bishop. One other big advantage from putting your knight on d2 instead of putting your knight on c3 is that if your opponent, for example, tries to pin your knight, which apparently is not happening in this game, but it's a very popular strategy in general, you could just put your pawn on c3, attack their bishop, and your knight is actually not even pinned. And even in the case where we play pawn to c4, if they try to pin your knight, it's actually not pinned on this weak square. Instead, it is pinned here on d2, where it is already protected by the bishop. So as you can see, there are so many advantages. I also developed an entire opening around this, which is called the Pegasus system. This is actually just the Pegasus system here for white. And we continue, for example, with queen b3, because the bishop was not out yet. I'm thinking quickly here, because this is a bit of a strange variation that they are playing. I think there might even be problems here. If we take and they take with this pawn, they will be in trouble. If we take and they take with the knight, they're also in trouble. But if we take and they take with the e-pawn, I don't think we have anything immediate. But I am gonna take, and I'm just gonna see what they do, because of course with the knight they are in trouble, and okay, they take with the right pawn, but now we have the bishop to d3, and this is protected by the queen. Now we have a centralized queen, and we can just also play b3, bishop b2. So very interesting strategy in the opening here for white. And still our knight, even though it can be pinned, it's actually on a better square here, already protected, and it's also making sure that our opponents cannot infiltrate with their knight. So I'm gonna castle first. I'm also thinking about playing e4 and e5 in the future, but I want to solidify the position a little bit more, maybe develop the bishop first. So this is my favorite strategy with the white pieces, known as the Pegasus system here, with the knight on d2. They are playing c5, which I think doesn't matter at all. We can just continue development. And if they take, they're actually helping us as well. Okay, so they are putting up some pressure here. Not that it really matters. I am gonna put my rook on the same file as the queen. That's always a good plan. Because now, basically, this pawn is stuck. And if we take, there are gonna be tricks. For example, if they take with the bishop, we have some tricks. Knight goes here. I am just gonna play pawn to a3 to take away a square from the knight. Okay, and I think now we have a pretty simple plan. We can just take here. Maybe we even had this on the previous move, but I would always rather be safe. Then we can take this. Now they have to create a weakness, and then we also grab this. I think we might have even had this on this move, but I never really like if they can attack my queen. So yeah, I think black is already in some trouble here. They are going to lose the central pawn, and they are going to have to damage their structure. But it's very common, the player with the white pieces here, so we are playing some very strange opening setup that they don't know, so it's very common for black to make mistakes. This is, I think, even more awkward because they are not grabbing our bishop, they are pushing the pawn, which gives us the time to actually save the bishop. And I don't see any benefit for them. We can also ignore it and just grab a pawn, lose the bishop, and grab a second pawn. I think that could also be interesting. But I think I'm gonna do a quick calculation, but I think we can just save the bishop. Yeah, I don't see any benefit for them. They basically are now down a full piece instead of just a pawn. They can take here, which is a little bit annoying. And I think their plan is probably to try and jump in with the knight, but I'm just thinking about playing this bishop here at some point. So I will take this with the queen. We do have to watch out though for some tactics. But everything seems protected right now, but we have to watch out. Okay, and now, well, actually, I think we can just grab this knight. Because again, it doesn't really matter if they take this, we can just move the king. The queen is behind the bishop, you want to have the queen in front of the bishop. And also, they actually cannot recapture, or they can recapture, but it's going to be a trade, yeah. I know you can take this pawn, but yeah. Doesn't really matter. They are attacking the queen. So I have to think a little bit. I think this is a very interesting move. We are trying to do a queen trade, and if they take, we take, and we are actually attacking their rook as well. And otherwise we can just bail out and take the c5 pawn. Might have missed a tactic somewhere here. I'm playing a little bit too quickly, talking a bit too much, which is the usual problems when I am playing in this rating climb. But I think we are gonna have an easy game here. We are actually up 2 minor pieces right now. And now they are giving us an extra piece like this. So we are just up 2 minor pieces. We are down 1 pawn. But this should be a very easy endgame. Basically, black is just giving away all the pieces. That's already protected. So I'm gonna take both of the open files. Now his rooks basically have nothing to do as well. And if he does this, of course, it's just extra trades, which is fine. That's extra trades. And of course, an endgame like this should be super easy. I'm actually going to activate the king and just go grab the pawn. An endgame like this should be super easy if you are up 2 full pieces. We are just going to blockade this, attack it, win it. Very easy strategy. And then the pawn is also equalized. Yeah, so I think black might even surrender here. Okay, I think we played an interesting game. I'm gonna do a quick game review to see if we didn't miss anything spectacular. So we had a 84.5% accuracy. We had a 94% endgame, but we did have 2 misses. So it's like I thought. Probably I already missed some tactics. But you see the opening is actually great here with the knight on d2. This is all fine, all fine. Yep, all fine. And here we have we have basically the same plan. We had the same plan a couple of moves already. But I was more worried about his moves here. I was actually worried about this queen bishop team up and a little bit worried that his knight would come in. But actually, instead of all of these moves that I played, I just have to go for this immediately. Of course, they can always attack the queen, but you can always just move the queen. But I noticed this opportunity a little bit too late, because usually this knight is protected, for example, by the d7 knight or by the bishop. But yeah, other than those 2 misses, I think we played a very great game. Here, of course, they should have just went for this variation, take, then this, of course, is losing for black, but it is a little bit better. I will play a second game because that game will probably bring us to 1100 rating. And this time I will be playing my favorite opening with black, which is the Scandinavian defense Valencian variation. Here we are gonna play bishop out. So I basically have my own opening system. Oh, that's a very strange move. Yep, that's a free pawn. I have my own opening system in the Scandinavian that I use, which is quite great. I have had such great results with this opening. But I do have to watch out because he is playing the most most random moves I have ever seen, and I honestly don't really know how to respond to his madness. So before I talk, I have to calculate a little bit. So he is planning to attack my queen and try to go for checkmate, I think. So I want to play knight c6. That prevents this misery. We are losing our pawn, but we are also activating our rook. So I think this all looks fine, but still, it's not super comfortable either, because he also has this knight move. So we are of course perfectly fine, but it's a bit of a strange move order. I was also thinking that maybe I could actually try to force an exchange of queens. But then we have the doubled pawn. So I'm thinking knight c6, they take here, rook goes in. They basically are forced to go here. And then we even have the knight here and then the check. Yeah, I think that's a great variation. We'll see if we can get this. I was gonna say Scandinavian. Very interesting opening. Very underrated opening. Many players think this is a trash opening for black, but it's an incredible opening. So I don't know if he will go for this. If he takes, I attack his queen. I was gonna say if he takes, I attack his queen. He has to go here. I go here, I attack his queen again. He has to go somewhere, and then I would have actually had a fork, maybe winning the queen or winning the rook. But he didn't go for the entire variation. Which means that I can protect it. And now I just want to develop and castle, because it's still not super comfortable, this position. But yeah, Scandinavian, great opening, but of course my opponent playing such random moves that I honestly don't know what is even going on. But that is of course very common, I think, at this rating level. But now we have all of the developed pieces. I was thinking that maybe there was a way for us to win a pawn here as well. I am not sure. So he is trying to go after this one, but that's protected, and also this one, which is under attack twice. So I guess we have to play bishop d6. And if he trades anyway, he always gives us an extra central pawn. So yeah, now we have an extra central pawn, which is fine. And we also have an open c-file. He is trying to play for tricks. I am just gonna castle and ignore everything. That looks like it's just a free pawn. I don't really see any way for him to do something. Maybe attack with his rook, but then he's also losing the bishop. But he is trying to play some annoying chess. I don't know what's up with this guy. Ah, that was a bad move. That was a bad move. I was thinking to just play. Well, he didn't really punish it in the right way. But I'm thinking to play pawn to d5, but I would be losing my rook. So I have to think and play a little bit more slowly. Well, now I have to defend. I'm actually gonna defend with this rook, because that also solves this problem. This is still protected. And that's, I think, just a free piece. And now we just have a free piece as well. Yep, and I hope he trades the rooks. Yep, he's helping us. Okay, so now we have a knight up endgame. The question is, how do we win this? We don't have to win this. They are just gonna surrender. And with that, we have finally reached 1100 rating. If you want to see the climb to 1200, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my other videos.